First, let us start with creating folder and start writing the code completely from the scratch. Now, first you have to install this XAMPP, and inside this we just have to start this Apache and MySQL. Okay, because we are using PHP, so we need Apache. Apache will be acting as a local server for PHP, and MySQL is the database itself. We are going to use MySQL database, and inside that database we are going to insert the entire data, and we are going to fetch the data from the database itself. Okay, so you just have to start this one, Apache and MySQL. Once you started this one, then we can easily use database and we can start writing the PHP script, and we can run our PHP script in our browser itself. Okay, now you can see once it is green, we can start using this one. I'll just minimize this. Now wherever you have installed XAMPP, come to that particular directory, and inside that, here I will be having this XAMPP, and here inside this you will find htdocs folder. Inside that htdocs folder, I have just created one folder, PHP advanced. Okay, now you can see this folder is completely empty. I don't have anything. We are going to write the code completely from the scratch, and here just right click on this and open with code. Okay, now my VS Code editor has been started. Now here inside this, first I'm just going to create this first file, index.php. Inside this file, we are going to do the basic setup, whatever is required for our project, and we are going to get started with that one. Okay, now here I'll be using Bootstrap. Here I have, you can see, I have opened this Bootstrap website. Okay, getbootstrap.com. Once you open this one, you will be having the CSS and JS links. Okay, I'm just going to copy this one, and here before that, let me just write this basic boilerplate. I'll just close this. Okay, this is my basic boilerplate of HTML, and here I'll be writing PHP Advanced CRUD. Okay, I have just changed the title. Now below this, I'll be writing one comment. I'll just write here Bootstrap CSS link. Below this, I'm just going to paste that one. Okay, this is Bootstrap CSS link. I'll just come here. Now from here, I'm just going to copy these two links. Okay, JavaScript. I just need this popper and Bootstrap. I'm just going to copy this one. And here at the end, I'm just going to write one comment, and here I'll be writing Bootstrap, popper and JS link. And below this, I'm just going to paste that two links. Now once it is done, I'll just come here. Now from here, I'll just search for jQuery CDN. I'll just open this one. Okay, because we are going to use jQuery, so we need jQuery CDN, and here you will be having this kind of page. Now here I'm just going to use this one, and from here we are having uncompressed, minified, slim, minified. I'm just going to click on this minified, and from here I'm just going to copy this link. I'll just come here, and here I'm just going to write one comment, not here. I'll just write one comment here. I'll be writing here jQuery CDN, and below this I'm just going to paste that link. Okay, Bootstrap I have linked and jQuery I have linked. Now next, I'm just going to come to Font Awesome. I'm just going to use some of the icons. So here I'll be searching for Font Awesome CDN. I'll just click on this first link, https://cdnjs.com. I'll just click on this first link, and from here I'm just going to copy that link. Okay, this is the first link, minified version. I'm just going to copy this one, and here wherever we have pasted CSS, I'll just come here. I'll be writing one comment, and here I'm just going to write here Font Awesome CDN link. And below this, I'm just going to paste that one. Okay, this is Bootstrap, this is Font Awesome, this here I'm having jQuery, here I'm having Bootstrap JS and Bootstrap popper. Okay, all the links we have linked. Okay, now from here, I'm just going to close this one. I don't need, and also I'm just going to close, and you just have to write here Font Awesome icons. I'll be telling you how to use icons so that we don't waste our time in opening this one. I'll just click on this Font Awesome. And from here, I'm just going to search for some icons, and I'm just going to copy the code, and later on I'm just going to use that one. Okay, now here I'm just going to write this one. I'll just write here search. Search. I'll search for this one. Okay, now here you can see you will be finding all the icons. I'll just click on this first one, and from here you will be getting the code which you can use inside your project. Okay, I'm just showing you so that you can get to know from where you can get the code for the icons. Okay, you can use in your projects. Okay, you can use any icon website. Okay, you can also use Bootstrap icons, which is provided by Bootstrap, but here I'm using Font Awesome. Okay, here you can see, here you will be having the code. Just copy this one. Okay, let me just show you the output for that, and here I will be pasting that link. Okay, now from here I'm just going to copy this file path. I'll just come here. Now inside this new tab, I'm just going to paste that one. And from here I'm just going to remove, I'll just write here localhost. Once I give this one, you can see my title is been changed to PHP Advanced CRUD, and you can see here I am getting this search bar. Okay, this is how we are going to get the icons. Okay, I have copied all the code of the icons and I have pasted already. Okay, if you want, you can just search for any icons like that. You can copy the code and you can use in your project. Here I am just going to remove this one. Okay, now once we are done with this, now finally we are going to start with the project. Okay, now here inside this index.php, first we are going to design the basic boilerplate or basic structure of our project. First I'm just going to write here h1, and for inside this h1 I'm just going to write here PHP Advanced CRUD. PHP Advanced CRUD. I'll save this. I'll come here, I'll refresh this one. Now you can see here I'm having this PHP Advanced CRUD, but here if you see here I'm having some background color. Okay, this I have not used any CSS part. Using Bootstrap I have just given this stylings. Okay, now here I'm just going to add some classes. I'll just add here class, and here I'm just going to give BG dark. Once I give this BG dark, the entire background of this h1 will become black. I'll save this. I'll just come here, I'll refresh this one. You can see the background color is been black, but if you notice here my text is not visible because my text is also dark color. So for that I'm just going to change the color. I'll just write here text light, and also I want my text in the middle, so I'm just going to write here text center. Okay, you literally don't have to by heart whatever I am writing. Okay, these are Bootstrap classes. Once you visit Bootstrap website or once you know the basics of Bootstrap, then you can do this one. I'll just come here, I'll refresh this. Now you can see here I am having PHP Advanced CRUD. Okay, and also I just want to give some padding. Padding is nothing but giving space from inside. In Bootstrap we are having this one padding. Y means top and bottom, and I am just giving 2. I'll come here, I'll refresh this one. Now this is my heading, PHP Advanced CRUD. Okay, now we are done with this heading. Okay, now next I'm having this search box and this button. Okay, add new button. Now below this h1 I'm just going to create one div, and for this div I'll just give the class name as row. Okay, now once we are using row class inside Bootstrap, then we have to use columns, and columns should be having sum of 12. Okay, now I am going to divide that columns. Inside this I'll just write here call, div call, and here for search box I'm just giving here 10. Okay, out of 12 I just want to give 10 for my search box. Inside this I'm just going to create one div, and for this div I'm just going to give the class name as input group. And inside this div container I'm going to create another div for my icon and for that input box. Okay, so for that we are having one class input group prepend. Okay, these are Bootstrap classes. Input group prepend. Okay, prepend is nothing but we are just going to write the whatever icon you can see here. Okay, whatever search icon you can see here, that is prepended inside this div container. Okay, so here first I'm just creating one column of 10. Inside this input group I'm just creating another input group. I'll just write here input prepend, and inside this I'm just going to write this span tag, and from here inside this span tag I'm just going to paste that icon. I'll just come here, whatever I have copied from here I'm just going to paste that one. Okay, now for this span tag I'm just going to give some classes. Class, let me just give here input group text input. Okay, once you go to Bootstrap website I'll be showing you how to use Bootstrap website as well, and also I'm just going to give here BG dark. I'll save this. I'll come here, I'll refresh this one. Now you can see now my background color you can see here, and text is not visible, that icon is not visible because that is also black. Now for this icon, for inside this I, I'm just going to give here text light or text white. Okay, whatever you want you can give. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see here I'm getting this output. Now here this entire thing I'm just going to wrap inside one container. I'll just write here div, and here I'm just going to write here container. Container is nothing but we are just going to wrap our entire thing inside one container, and it will take only that particular width. I'll just show you the output. I'll refresh this one. Okay, now you can see here I'm having this search box. Now after this I just want one input field. Okay, now my this div container is ending here, and this is wrapped inside this div container. Okay, now here I'm having this column of 12, and here it is ending. Now below this prepend, inside this input div container itself I just want one input field. So below this I'm just going to create one input. Here I'm just going to create input, and inside this input type let it be text, and also I'm just going to give class. I'll be giving here form control. I'll save this one. I'll come here, I'll refresh this. Okay, now you can see input field is visible, but here I'm just going to give some placeholder, and here inside this itself I'm just going to give placeholder. Let me just write here search user. Okay, something whatever you want you can just give. I'll come here, I'll refresh this one. Okay, now you can see placeholder is visible. We are done with our search bar. Now next we are having this button. Okay, add new user button. Okay, now inside this row first I'm having this column 10. Now total remaining is 2. So here I'm just going to write here div, and inside this div I just want 2. And inside this div container I just want that button. So here I'm just going to write button, and for this button I'll just give the class as btn, and also I want btn dark. And inside this button I'm just going to write here add new user. I'll save this. I'll come here, I'll refresh this one. Now you can see here I'm having this button add new user. I'll just close this one. Okay, from here if I just show you inside Bootstrap, if you just write here input group, I'll just click on this. Okay, from here you can see you will be getting all this code. If you just copy this one and if you use in your project, then also fine. Okay, I'm just typing that one so that you don't get confused whatever we are doing. Okay, now we are done with this add new user button, and for this button whenever I click, I want this model should be open. Okay, this model whatever I click, okay, this model should be open. So for that we just have to add some properties here, some attributes inside this one. So first I'm just going to make the type. Okay, type by default it is button only. If you don't write then also no problem. And next I'm just going to give here data toggle. Okay, this data toggle I just want model. So here inside this I'm just going to write here model. Okay, because whenever I click on this button, I want that model should be popped up. So we just have to write here data toggle is equal to model and data target. Okay, which model I have to open. So inside this data target, let me just write here data target. And here I'll be writing one name, and you just have to write like this hash, and here I'll be writing user model. Okay, you can give any name based on your requirement. Okay, here I have just written data toggle and data target, and inside this I'm having this add new user. And if you see here I'm having this, whenever I click on this model should be opened. Okay, now here I have just written data target, and for whichever I give this ID, that will be opened and that will be displayed for me. Okay, this is all about our container. Okay, inside this I'm having this row, inside this we are having this search, and then finally we are having this button. I'll just come down. Now here whenever I click on this button, I want my model should be open. Below this container, let me just write here one comment. I'll be writing here form model. Now we are going to see how to create this pop-up model. Now here I'm just going to come here, Bootstrap website, and here I'll be searching for model. Okay, just write this one and you will be finding all the code from here. Okay, now here you will be having all these models. You can see whenever I close, it will close. Okay, everything we are having here. And now this is the form I am going to use. Whenever I click on this model should be open for me. Okay, now here I am just going to take this reference and we are going to make our model. I'm just going to close this one. Okay, now this button we have already created. Inside this you can see we are having data toggle, which we have already put inside our button, and also here we are having this data target, and inside this they have just written this one, and whenever we click, okay, it is getting opened. Now here this entire thing I'm just going to copy because this is the thing I just want to open. I'm just going to copy till here. Okay, you can just copy till here. Okay, button we have already created. Okay, if you have not created, you can just copy this entire thing and you can paste in your project. Okay, I have just copied this one, and here I'm just going to paste that one. I'll save this. I'll come here. I'll refresh this one. Now when I click on this, it is not going to work because my ID is different here. Now here inside my button, you can see inside this button, I'm just going to come here. Inside this button, data target, I have just given here user model. I'm just going to copy this one, but here inside this form, I am having this ID. This ID I got from the Bootstrap. I'm just going to give user model. I'll save this. I'll come here. I'll refresh this one. Now whenever I click on this, you can see this model I am getting. Okay, this is how we are going to use model. You can give any ID, but whatever you are giving this one, the data target should be same. Only then it is going to work, or else you will not be getting any output. Okay, now here let me just write here input search and button section. Okay, so that we don't get confused. Okay, now here I am having this model. Now inside this model, okay, you can just remove this one. We don't need this. I'm just going to remove this. Okay, I don't want to mess with this one, and also I don't want this one. I'm just going to remove this. Now inside this we are having this model dialog. Okay, let it be role document, model content, model header, and here from here I'm just going to remove this one, and instead of this I'm just going to write here adding or updating users. Okay, you can give anything, whatever you want. I'll just write here users. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now when I click on this, you can see I'm having adding or updating users. Now when I click on this close, it is going to close. Now below this we are having this button for close and for this one. Okay, now here we are having all these things. If you want, you can just remove this one, or else you can keep. Okay, no issues. And also I'm just going to remove this one. I'll save this. Okay, if you want, you can keep. And inside this model body, we are just going to create form now. So this entire thing I'm just going to wrap inside the form. I'll be writing form, and inside this form action I'm just going to remove. Okay, because we are using ajax, and in that we are going to give actions. And inside this form I'll be using id. I'll just write here id. I'm just going to write here add form. Okay, this id will be very useful whenever we are adding users, whenever we are doing all kind of stuff. This id will be very useful. So you have to give this id. You can give any name for the id. And inside this, and also I'm just going to give method. I'll be using post. Okay, there are two kinds of methods, post and get. You can use any one of them. Get is not secure because all the data whatever we are sending, that will be displayed in the URL. Okay, but post is very secure, so we are just using here post method. And also we have used images. Okay, you can see here inside this form I'm having this images. Okay, to insert these images we have to use one property. I'm just going to write here enc type. Okay, this will allow us to insert images. Okay, whatever multiple forms we want to insert, we can use that one. I'm just going to write here enc type, and inside this here we just have to write here multipart / form data. Okay, if you give only, then you will be able to insert the images inside the database, or else you will not be able to insert. So you just have to write this enc type. This entire form, this closing form I'm just going to remove, and this form I'm just going to close here. Okay, this is my model. Okay, this is footer model. Now here I'm just going to close that one. Okay, even you have to close here footer model. Okay, model footer. Below this div container, closing this form, and this form is wrapping here. Okay, this entire model body will come inside this one. Now inside this model body, first I'm just going to create one label, and inside this let me just remove this one for as of now I don't need. And here first I'll be writing name. Below this I'm just going to create one div, and for this div I'll just give the class name as, okay, let me just come here. I'll just come here, and from here I'm just going to copy this entire input group. I'll just copy this one, and here I'm just going to paste that one. And from here I'm having this input group, and then I'm having this input group prepend. Then here I'm having input group text bg dark, and here I'm having some class. Okay, everything is there. And also here we are having this type text, class is equal to form control. And for this I'm just going to remove this placeholder. Instead of this I'll be writing here enter your username. And also I'm just going to give here autocomplete to be off, so that whenever I write, I don't want any suggestion should appear. So here I'm having autocomplete to be off, and also I'm adding some validation. Here I'll be writing here required is equal to required. Okay, because without filling the name I don't want to enter this data inside the database. Okay, all these things. And also I need one ID. Okay, this ID is very useful, and ID I'm just going to give here username. Okay, this is for name field I have added. I'm just going to change this icon. Okay, I have already copied all the icons. I'm just going to search for that files, icons. Here I'm having this one text document. I'm just going to open that, and from here I'll just copy this one. I have already shown you how to copy this icons from Font Awesome. I'll just come here. I'll just come to my project. I'll refresh this one. Now whenever I click on this, you can see this username is visible, but this is dark color. This icon is not visible. So for that, inside this, let me just give here text to be light. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Okay, don't get confused whatever we are doing. You can give any stylings based on your requirement. And also I'm just going to change this one. I'll just write here submit and close. Okay, now here I'm just going to come. Okay, now this is my model. This button I just want to bring up, and this will be down. And here I'm just going to write here submit, and here let it be close. And for this, instead of this one, let me just write here dark, bg dark. And for this one I'm just going to write here danger. I'll save this. Okay, stylings you can give based on your requirement. I'll refresh this one. I'll click on this. Okay, now here I'm having submit and close. Okay, now in the same way I'm just going to add email and mobile. I'll just come here. Okay, before that, this entire thing I'm just going to write one div, and for this div I'm just going to give the class name as form group. Inside this I'm just going to paste this label and this div container. Okay, this will be in the form of one group. I'll just come here. I'll paste that one here. I'll come here. I'll refresh this one. Now when I click on this, I'm having the output here. Now this entire thing, let me just close this left part. I'll just format this one. Now this entire form group div container, I'm just going to copy, and here I'll just write one comment, and here let me just write here email. Below this I'm just going to paste. Again here I'm just going to write one comment, and here I'll be writing mobile, and here I'm just going to paste that one. Again I'm going to write one comment, I'll be writing photo, and below this I'm just going to paste. Okay, three times I have pasted. First time is my username. Let me just write here username. Okay, username we have already done. Now here I am just going to change this email, and from here I am just going to copy this envelope. I'll copy this one, and here I am just going to paste that one, and also I am just going to give the class as text light, and next I am giving here enter your email. I'll copy this. Okay, let me just write here email. Okay, everything is same. Now type also, let me just give here email. Now finally we are having mobile. Let me just write here mobile, and next I'll just come here, I'll copy this phone, and here I'm just going to paste that one. I'll just change the class. I'll just give one class text light, and enter your mobile. I'll just copy this ID mobile. Okay, everything is same. Type will be text, and finally we are having photo, and for photo we are just going to do some changes. Okay, for photo we are having type is equal to file, so we are just going to change that one. Now here I'm just going to change it to photo. Now next everything will be same, and here I'm having this one, and from here I'm just going to remove this. I don't need this one. This entire thing I'm just going to remove, and here I'm having this input type, and here I'm just going to write here file, and class I'm just going to give here. Let me just remove this one, and instead of this we are having one bootstrap class. I'm just going to write here custom file input. Okay, this is the bootstrap class, and this entire thing I'm just going to remove from here. And also for this photo I'm just going to give name is equal to photo, and also ID I'm just going to give ID is equal to user photo. Okay, you can give any ID. Before this I'm just going to give one label, and inside this label, inside this for, I'm just going to write here user photo. Whatever ID I have given here, I'm just passing that one here. If you don't give, then also it's fine. And inside this, let me just write here class is equal to custom file label. Okay, this is label, so we are just writing here label. Okay, this is bootstrap class label, custom file label, and inside this I'm just going to write here choose file. I'll save this. I'll come here, I'll refresh this one. Now when I click on this, you can see all the data is been displayed, and here I'm having name, email, okay, mobile, choose file, everything is been displayed. When I click on this choose file, a pop-up will be opened, and from here I can select any of the images. I'll just come up, and for this username I have given this ID. Inside this input field I have given this ID. Now here I'm just going to write here name, and inside this name also I'm just going to pass the same thing. I'll just write here name, and again inside this email input field I'm just going to write here name, and here I'll be writing, and inside this I'm just going to write here email. And finally for this one also I'm just going to do the same thing, name, and here I'm just going to write here phone or mobile. And also for this phone number I'm just going to add some validation. Let me just write here maximum length. Maximum length, I just want to enter only 10 digits. I don't want to enter more than that. So I'm just writing here maximum length, and also minimum length should be 10. Okay, I don't want 0 or 1 like that. So I'm just going to write here minimum length is equal to 10. Okay, this is kind of validation. If you want, you can add, or else you can give your own validation. Okay, we have just given type is equal to text. We have given the class, ID, name, required field, maximum, minimum, autocomplete, and finally we have given the placeholder. Okay, this all things we are done. I'll save this. I'll just close this one. I'll refresh once. Now when I click on this, you can see this model is opened. Here I am having all these things, and whenever I click on this, I can select any of the images and I can insert that image. Okay, now we are done with this model. We are done with this input. Now next we are having this table. Okay, now we are going to work on this table. Now below this one, okay, below this I'm just going to write one comment, and here I'll be writing table. Now inside this you can just come here, and from here you can copy this entire table. Let me just search for table. I'll just click on this, and from here I'm just going to copy the code for the table. Okay, here I'm having this table. I'll just copy this one, and here I'm just going to paste. Okay, we are just going to do some changes. Class is equal to table, and for this table I am just going to give id. Id is equal to user table. Okay, now next we are having this table head. Inside this table head, let me just give the class. Class is equal to bg dark or table dark. Table dark. I'll save this. I'll just come here. I'll refresh this one. Okay, now you can see here I am having this table, but below I am not having any space for this row. So here inside this row class, okay, inside this I am just going to give some margin bottom. Let me just give here 3. I'll save. I'll refresh. Okay, now here I am having some space. Okay, now my table is ready. Now we are just going to change the field. Now from here, let me just write here image. Here I'll be writing name. Then I just want email. And here I just want phone. And I want one more table header, and here I am just going to write here operations. Now from here, let me just write here another data. Let me just write one picture 1. Picture 1 name, let me just write here Khanam. Email khanam@demo.com. Mobile number, some random number, and finally we are having operations. So inside this totally we are having 3 operations. Let me just write here 3 paragraphs. Paragraph into 3, and inside this first paragraph I am having edit, then I am having profile, and finally I am having delete. Okay, this is demo. Later on we are just going to change that one. I'll come here. I'll refresh this. Now for this one you can see all the 3 things is been displayed. Okay, paragraph is been displayed like that. Okay, instead of that let me just write here span. Okay, because these are block level elements, so it is taking entire width. Let me just write here span, and here I am just going to write here span. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Okay, now here I am having edit, profile and delete and all these things. Okay, now from here I am just going to remove this table row, and also this table row I am just going to remove. Okay, I want only one table row. Later on we are just going to fetch the data from the database, and we are going to display that data. Okay, this is how our table should be displayed. We are having all these things. Now next we are having this pagination. Now this is my table body. I am just going to come down. Now here I am just going to write one comment. I'll be writing here pagination. Pagination. Let me just write here pagination. I'll save this. I'll come here. I'll come to bootstrap, and from here I'm just going to search for pagination. Okay, you will be having many demos for the pagination. You can select whatever is required for you. I'm just using this one. I'll just copy this, and here I'm just going to paste that one. I'll just paste that one here, and from here we are having this area label for this nav, and inside this nav I'm just going to add one id. Id is equal to pagination. Below this we are having this ul. Okay, we are having all these things. I'll just save this one. I'll just come here. I'll refresh this. Okay, now here I am having this pagination. I want that in the middle. So for that, inside this I'm just going to give this one justify content to be center. Okay, these are bootstrap class. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see that has come in the middle. Okay, now we are just going to write, we are going to create tables, we are going to create database, and finally we are going to get started with our PHP code. Okay, now we are done with this pagination, but here if you see in my project, here I am having this active and disabled, and also in this pagination you can see here we are having this disabled class and we are having this active class. Okay, for 2 it is active, so we are having this active class. Okay, so here as of now for this one I am just going to give that class, and this class has been given inside li. So here inside li for this one I'll just give here active, and for previous I'm just going to give here disabled. Okay, later on we are just going to remove, and dynamically we are going to add. I'll just come here. I'll refresh this one. Okay, now that class has been added. Here this is active and this is disabled. Now inside this, now when I come to 2, okay, that will be active and rest all will be disabled. Okay, this next will be disabled, and here when I click on 1, that will be active. When I click on next, okay, here this will be active. Okay, now we are going to see how to give this dynamically later on, but this is how we are going to add active and disabled class. Okay, now finally we are done with this our HTML structure. Now we are going to design our database. Okay, we are going to create database, we are going to create tables now. Now here I am just going to come here. Here I will be searching for localhost PHP my admin. Okay, once you write this one, it will be redirected to MySQL database. I'll just come here. Now if you are using this for the very first time, then you can notice here left side you will not be having any databases by default. Okay, by default maybe you are having 5 databases, okay, which are not created by yourself. If you have already used this one, then you will be aware of this one. Here I'll just click on new, left side I'll just click on new. I'm just going to create one database. I'll just write here user data. I'll just click on create. Okay, database user data has been created. Okay, now here you can see here I'm having this user data. Now inside this I'm just going to create table. I'll be writing here user table. Okay, totally I want 5 fields here. Okay, for ID I need image, name, email and phone. Okay, totally 5 fields. So here I'm just going to give here 5. I'll just click on go. Now inside this first column I'm just going to give ID. Next I'm just going to give here name. Then I'm just going to give here email. Next I'll be giving here mobile or phone. Oh, let me just give here mobile. And finally I'm just going to give here photo. Now inside this for ID I'm just giving the data type as int. Length I'm just giving here 11. For name I'm just going to give here varchar. And size, okay, you can give any size here. Minimum is 0 and maximum is 255. Email also I'm just going to give here varchar and length 100. Mobile also varchar and length let me just give here 20. And finally for photo also I'm just going to give here varchar. Varchar means we can include all kind of symbols, special characters, etc. And for this photo I'm just going to give the size as 100. Okay, now for this ID I'm just going to give this one auto increment, which means that automatically each time whenever I insert the data, this ID should be incremented by 1. Once I give this auto increment, it is going to give me primary. ID will be unique in this table. Okay, now here I have just created this table. I have just created the database called user data. Inside that I have just created the table called user table. Inside that totally I have created 5 fields: ID, name, email, mobile and phone. And for each field I have just given the data type and the length of that one. And for ID I have just given primary key and auto increment. Once we are done with this, just click on save and it is going to save this one. Okay, inside this mysql we have created the database called user data, and inside that we are having this user table, and this is our structure of a table. Okay, you can see here auto increment for ID and we are having this primary key here. Okay, we are done with this one. Now we are just going to see how to connect to the database. Okay, as I told you, we are going to use PHP PDO. In this we are going to use OOPS concepts. So you should be having basic knowledge of what are classes, how to create objects. Okay, if you don't know, then also no problem. I'm going to explain you in this tutorial. But if you are having basic knowledge, then it will be very easy for you to understand this one. Okay, now here I'm just going to come. I'll just do Control B. Now here inside this I'm just going to create one folder. Let me just write here partials. Inside this partials folder I'm just going to create one file. I'll just write here connect.php. Okay, now inside this file we are just going to connect to the database first. Once we are connected to the database, only then we can work with the database. We can insert the data inside the database. So for that, here I'm just going to write this PHP syntax now. Here I'm just going to write here PHP syntax, and here I'm just going to close that one. Now inside this I'm just going to create the class, and class I'm just going to give, okay, you can give any name. Let me just write here database. Okay, I'm just going to connect to the database, so I'm just writing here database. Now inside this I just want to define the local host, my server name, my username, password, my database name. Okay, so for that I'm just going to use here private access modifier, so that this will be limited to this class itself. Okay, if you are not aware of this PHP OOPS concept, I have already uploaded one complete video on PHP OOPS. Okay, you can refer that one and then you can start with this project. Okay, here I'm just going to use here private, and here let me just write here DB server or DB localhost, whatever you want you can just give here. And here let me just write here localhost. Okay, our server is localhost, so I'm just going to write that one. Now if you see here, you can see 127.0.0.1, which means that we are working inside our localhost. Here I'm just going to create one more variable, and this variable name, let me just write here database user. And inside this, if you have not changed any username, then by default it is going to be root. I'm just going to write here private, and here I'll be writing here database password. Okay, password by default, if you have not changed anything, then it will be empty, but I have changed my password, so I'm just writing my password here, my database password. And next I am having my database name, so I'm just going to create one more variable. I'm just going to write here DB name, okay, database name. And inside this, whatever database I have created just now, we just have to write that one, user data. I'm just going to write that one here, user data. Now below this, I'm just going to create one more variable for connecting to the database. So I'm just going to write here protected access modifier, and here I'm just going to write here connection. Here I'm just going to write this protected because I'm going to extend all these properties inside another class. So I'm just making it as protected, so I can access this connection variable inside my another file. Now here I'm just going to create constructor. Let me just write here constructor. Okay, constructor we are just going to create like that. Let me just give here public. By default, if you don't give, then also it is going to be public. I'm just going to create function. You just have to write here hyphen construct, hyphen construct, and inside this constructor I'm just going to connect to the database now. Okay, so for that I'm just going to create one variable dsn, and inside this first we just have to pass like this. Okay, mysql host. Okay, this is the syntax for connecting to the database. Let us see what all it is going to accept. Now inside this I just want to connect. Okay, inside this class itself I'm just creating this function, and so from here I'm just going to access this one. Okay, this database server name. So we just have to write here this. Okay, from this class I am just taking that one. So here I'll be writing this variable. Okay, whatever variable you have given here, you just have to pass that one here. Okay, you can give any variable names for this one. I'm just going to close this like this, semicolon. Again I'm just going to write here database name, db name, and inside this I'm just going to pass the same thing like that. I'll just write here this, and inside this I'm just going to pass this database variable name. Okay, whatever I have created, database name. I'm just going to copy this, and here I'm just going to paste that one. I'll close this, semicolon, and here you just have to write here char set. Okay, char set we are just going to encode this one. I'm just going to write here UTF-8. UTF-8. Okay, if I'm just passing this one character set UTF-8. Okay, character set we are going to pass because we are going to use all kinds of entities, all kinds of symbols, whatever is present. So we are just going to use this one. Okay, you just have to write this syntax, and inside this first we are just passing this mysql host. First we just have to write this local host. We are just passing this local host, so we are just writing this. Then again we are just passing this database name. Okay, whatever we have created, we are just passing that one. Now below this, now we have to connect to the database, and before that we should always take care that okay, this should be always available and it should not be changed by anyone. Okay, so we are going to use persistent here. Okay, let me just tell you how to use that one. Here let me just create one variable options, and inside this I'm just going to create one array. Inside this array I'm just going to write this PDO : attribute persistent. Okay, this we are passing because longer time it should be available. Okay, it should occur over a long period of time. So we are just passing whatever data we are getting, we are just passing inside this array persistent. Now below this, now finally we are just going to connect to the database. So for that I'm just going to write here this, and from here I'm just going to write this one, this connection variable whatever I have created, this dot connection, and inside this I'm just going to create this one object, new PDO. And inside this first I'm just going to pass this variable. Okay, whatever variable I have created here, I'm just going to pass that one here. Okay, that is whatever we are having this local host and our database name. Inside this, the second parameter I'm just going to pass is our username. Okay, so for that again we just have to write this one. Okay, I just want to fetch from this particular class, so this variable I'm just going to pass. I'll copy, and here I'm just going to paste that one. Again next I'm just going to pass the password. So here I'm just going to write this, and again this variable whatever I have created here, I'll just copy this one, and here I'm just going to paste that one. And final parameter is our this one. Okay, this variable whatever we have created for persistent array, I'm just going to paste that one. Okay, this is how we are going to connect using PDO. You don't have to get confused with this syntax. Once you practice this one, then you will understand what all we should give. First we are just giving local host and our database name. Then finally in this, okay, in this when we are connecting to the database, in this we are just passing this one, okay, DSN, where we are having our database name and our local host, and finally we are just giving our username, password, and this array persistent variable. Now below this we will not get to know if we are having some error, so we are just going to wrap this entire thing in try catch block so that we can handle exceptions. Now here I'm just going to write here try. Inside this try block I'm just going to copy this, and here I'm just going to paste that one. If I am not having any error, then this will be displayed, or else whatever I am having inside catch, that will be displayed. Inside catch we just have to pass one exception. Here I'm just going to write here PDO. Here I'm just going to write here exception, PDO exception. you can give any variable name here. I'm just going to give here E, and whenever I'm having some error, this will come to catch block and this error will be displayed to me. And here I'm just going to write here connection error. Okay, you can give anything here, any message you can give. I'm just going to give here connection error, and also I'm just going to give this one. Now here I'm just going to concatenate with that message, and here I'll be writing this $E, and inside this I'm just going to pass one method that is nothing but get message. Okay, using this get message I'll be getting that message. Okay, whatever error I'm having, that will be displayed to me using this method. Okay, now let's see whether we are connected to the database or not. I'll just save this one. Now if I just copy this, copy path, and here if I just paste that one, okay, it is not going to work. Let me just tell you why. I'll just remove this, localhost, enter. Okay, now okay, here I'm having one error, syntax error, expected E. Okay, let me just write here $E. I'll save this, I'll refresh this one. Okay, now here I am not having any error, but it is not showing me whether it is connected or not. Okay, to check whether it is connected or not, let me just come to index.php. Okay, we have created the class. Okay, now for class I am just going to create one object. Once I am done with creating the object, we will see whether we are connected to the database or not. Now inside index.php, now here I am just going to write this PHP syntax, and here first I just want to include or require this file. Okay, let me just require this file. I'll just write here required, and my file is present inside this one. Let me just require once. I don't want to require again and again. Require once, and my file is present inside this partials folder. Let me just write this partials, and inside that I'm having this connect.php file. Okay, I'm just requiring this file inside index.php file. Now here I'm just going to create object. Let me just write here db obj something. Okay, you can give any variable name, and here I'm just going to write this new database. Okay, my class name, new database. Okay, whatever class we have created here, okay, whatever class name you have given here, I'm just creating the object for that one. Now below this, let me just write here var dump, just to check whether it is working or not, and var dump will be giving all the data, and inside this I'm just going to pass this db obj. I'll save this. I'll just come to index.php to check whether it is working or not. I'll refresh this one. Okay, now here I am having some error, undefined variable db server on line 14-16 I am having some error. Let us just check for that one. Okay, now here I have just done the mistake. Here we just have to give like this, okay, db server, and also here I am just going to remove this, and also from here I am just going to remove this. Okay, here I have just created the variable. Okay, I am just passing that one without dollar symbol. Let me just check for that one. I'll just refresh this one. Okay, now you can see here I am getting this output. DB server is database, private string, localhost. Okay, root I am getting, my password I am getting. Okay, everything is being displayed, which means that I am not having any error and I am successfully connected to the database. Now once I am successfully connected to the database, now I can do all kind of stuff like adding the data inside the database, deleting the data from the database, updating the data. I can do all the things now. Okay, once we are done, once we are successfully connected, only then we can work with database. Okay, you can just take the screenshot of this one if you want. Okay, we are just creating the class, and inside this I am just passing all these variables, and we are just creating one constructor. Inside this constructor, first I am just passing this one localhost and our database name. Then we are just passing this one attribute persistent, which means that it will exist for a longer period of time, and I am just passing inside this array. And here finally I am just connecting to the database, and here I am just writing this new PDO, and inside this I am just passing this 4 parameters. That is our first, this is our data source name, then we are having database user, database password, and finally inside this options, whatever I have created here, that is being displayed. And then finally I am having this catch. Now let me just comment this one and I will show you if I don't give this one what happens. I'll save this. I'll just come here. I'll refresh this one. You can see again I'm going to get the output. I will not be having any effect in that. Okay, but it is important to give that one because it is going to exist for a longer period of time. I'll just do Control Z. I'll save this. I'll just come here. I'll refresh this. Again I'm having the same output. Okay, this is how we are going to work. If I am having some error, this error will be displayed with connection error. Okay, we have already seen that one. Now let me just show you that error again. I'll save this. I'll save this, I'll refresh this one. Now you can see here I am having that error. Okay, connection, okay, whatever error I am having, that will be displayed to me. So I'm just going to remove that one. I'll save this, refresh. Okay, this is how we are going to connect to the database. Now from index.php, I'm just going to remove this one. I don't need that. I'll just comment this one. Okay, just to check, I have just written that one. I don't need that one. I'm just going to remove. Now this will be my output. Okay, now we are done with connecting to the database. Now finally we are going to work with Ajax, we are going to work with JavaScript, and we are going to make this project interactive.